Hi everybody, welcome to Outlaw Bookseller. It's the end of October and I'm pretty much over the dreadful cold which has prevented me from sort of filming anything the last couple of weeks. So I usually film way ahead, so I may get behind next week. So this might be a stopgap for what's happening then. I thought I'd do a quick recent acquisitions book haul video and talk about what I've read recently. Because I've actually bought quite a lot, mostly paperbacks, while I've been at home sick and, just sort of trickling around on AB or eBay as one does and one shouldn't do. I am off to Hay-on-Wye next week, hopefully. So I thought I'd do like an interim sort of little book haul and look at what I've been reading recently. So I was hoping that Smudge would come into this one. I don't know where she is, but you know pets are like, they will never do what you want. So when you want them around, they're around, when they're not, they're not. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to take these off because it is sunny behind the camera, but it's not too bad actually. So we'll reveal the full horror, as we say. So recently I want to talk first of all about what I've been reading. A while ago I mentioned I was reading Star Rider by Doris Passerchia, and I mentioned it was very strange. It is very strange. Last time I talked about this I'd only read about the first 50 pages. It's very much a book of two halves. I do think the first part is better than the second part. It's quite sort of clogged up with detail, and she's not really sort of fantastic on info dump. You do have to do that in SF a bit, I think, and there's different schools of thought on that, but it's intriguing and I'm looking forward to reading more by her because it's quite something. This was her most successful book, I think, but yeah, it was great fun, very interesting. So more to come from Doris, I feel. So moving on, as I also said, I've had a Stanislaw Lem binge recently, and because of the MIT editions that Scott Bradfield put me on. Hi Scott. And I decided to stop for now because I read 3 in short succession and enjoyed them all. The one I read most recently, I finished this sort of middle of last week, was His Master's Voice, which is a first contact novel, and this is probably one of his most serious and literary books, and it sort of does go round the houses a bit. It's not it's not like reading Contact. It's really clever, and there's great character studies, and it talks about again the problem knowledge, and I really enjoyed that. So it's great to get back into Lem and these MIT books. They're beautiful. Buy them while you can. I don't know how long they'll be around, but fantastic stuff. So I decided to polish off a couple of short books next. Excuse me. And I picked up some Door paperbacks, which is Jules Burt's fault for doing that huge Door haul on his channel a few months ago. And it really got me looking at the list again. And I thought, well, I don't actually have many of these. And a lot of Door books are very minor in the SF canon, but some of them are great fun. But one of those I went for was Brian Stableford's Critical Threshold, which is the second of a 6-part series. Now you can read them as singletons. It's very short and sharp, 160 pages, which I really like. Came out in the late 70s. And Stableford's great at these really acerbic sort of characters with flaws, and he's just great characterization, and it's a biology idea, this one, and I really enjoyed it. It's the first Stableford I read for ages. I'm a huge fan of the Hooded Swan series, which is space operas, and I'm normally not a space opera guy, so if you've never read Hooded Swan, Star Pilot Granger, do, because they are absolutely brilliant. And I think I'm going to pick up more of Brian's books because I really should have read a lot more, and I do really like them. They don't mess around. I think if most SF writers wrote characters as good as this, we'd be in clover. So really great stuff there from Brian. I want to talk about buying online a bit, and I buy from all sorts of places. I've got certain favourite dealers I've mentioned. I'll mention 1 or 2 of them now, but what I would say is, remember, when you look on Abebooks, where I look a lot, that a lot of these dealers have their own websites, and of course they make more money if you buy direct from them. So do have a look at what they do and try and buy direct from them if you can. because, you know, it's good for them, and often they give excellent service, you know, the very best ones. So that's a little tip. So before I look at AB a bit more, I just want to talk about a book I've been reading this week, which is Polly Put the Kettle On by Hilary Bailey, which came out of my Hawkwind studies. And this is a book I've wanted to read for years and years and years. And this is a horrible print-on-demand trade paperback, as you can see, from Bloomsbury, my publisher. And I don't really like print-on-demand books, but, you know, when they're out of print, they're expensive, they're scarce, what have you, you know, you've got to go with it. And it means if the author's still alive, they get the credits. And now Hilary Bailey is dead, sadly, but I think hopefully her estate will get some money out of this. So, this is supposedly a thinly disguised recollection of what her life was like when she was living with Michael Moorcock in the early 70s, when Hawkwind were around in Ladbroke Grove. And it to me suffers from all the problems that that mainstream novels often have. There are way too many characters. I didn't find it that engaging. She writes reasonably well. I've read another novel by her, and I've read some short stories by her. And, you know, she's workmanlike enough, but it didn't really grab it for me, and I didn't really find it that revelatory. It does give a very strong, polished impression of the sort of chaos of those days and communal living and the way people were in that scene, and I personally would have hated that. So it's out there if you want to read it. You know, it's of interest for Moorcock and Hawkwind fans, and I'm glad I read it, but it didn't exactly blow me away. So sorry, Hilary, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. I got that from Amazon. Normally I'd get it from work, but as I was off sick and I knew it would come more quickly that way. So looking at other things I've acquired, mostly paperbacks, so I'm going to start with hardcover. I'm on a bit of a Poul Anderson kick at the moment since I bought The Merman's Children, which is wonderfully well written, and this is another one of his fantasy novels, Operation Chaos, which is a Seven House book. I love Seven House books. I love the livery. They were obviously mostly designed for libraries. I've got loads of them. I absolutely love them. I think they're fantastic. And this was about 10 quid from the dealer I probably bought more books from than anybody, and that's Andy Richards at Cold Tonnage Books. Now, you will find Cold Tonnage on Abebooks, but he does have his own website. I really feel anybody who's seriously interested in SF, fantasy and horror, he does a lot of horror these days, if you're a horror collector, really needs to be buying from Andy, because I think he's a fantastic guy. I've been buying from him for at least 30 years. He's really, really good prices, good grading, realistic. I have sold the odd thing to him myself, and I always find him very reliable and professional. So Cold Tonnage Books, great stuff. He has, get on the mailing list, you'll get an email about once a month, lots of great stuff. And I'm looking forward to this because I am in a very Poul mood. I'm hoping when I go to Hay&Y to get a load of Poul Anderson paperbacks. I've decided that I'm going to sort of delve more deeply into his work because I feel I've neglected it. Here's another Brian Stableford, Paradox of the Sets, which is a later one in the series to the one I showed you earlier on, Critical Threshold. And again, I got this from Zardoz Books, as they used to be called. They're now called All You Need Is Books. They are an ABE, but they have their own website. And the good thing is if you buy from people's own websites, when they send you the books, they'll often send you a little code to enter on their own website to get 10% off next time. And they do this, it's worth doing. This was graded very good. It's got a bit of a leaning spine and what have you. I'm not too concerned. Normally I don't buy anything with a leaning spine, but for $4.95 you can't really go wrong, and the service is very good and very cheap, and they have a massive range of stock. So if you just want to pick up some collection fillers, really, really good. And of course they do books which are graded fine and very fine as well, so you know, so keep an eye on those gradings. Usually they're very good to about $4.95, which is great if you want to read American books that are quite hard to come by. So I've not read that yet. I've got probably knock that off quite soon because I enjoyed the other Stableford. So there we go, and great title and lovely cover there, as you get from Door. Another favourite dealer who always gives really good service and great grading is Fantastic Literature in Essex. Simon there, great guy. His grading is really good. I bought a couple of books from his website, and I'll be spending some more money there, I think, if I can't pick up what I want from Hay&Y. So looking at what I got from him recently, I got a Barton Bailey, which I've never read. I think I've only read this 3. I think I haven't read, and I've meaning to get around to this for ages, and it's quite a scarce one. This is Starwind, so I don't think there's ever a UK edition of this. And I do love Barton Bailey, and if you're not familiar with him, one of my very early videos on recent acquisitions, actually it's not recent acquisitions, it's just dedicated to Bailey. He was the sort of master of dark British space opera, even before M. John Harrison, and a fantastic writer, and I'm really looking forward to this because I always love his work. He's entertaining, he is strictly genre SF, but at the same time he has new wave flourishes, and I really love his stuff. So that's going to be a treat because I haven't read a new Bailey for years and years and years, so I'm really looking forward to that. So it's going to be fantastic. Something else I got from Simon is is a book in a series that I've tried several times to read these in different forms and never quite got on with them. It's a series that started in the 50s by Poole Anderson and Gordon R. Dixon, about the Hokers, who are little teddy bear like aliens. Look at that jacket, fantastic. There they are, dressed as Sherlock Holmes and pirates and what have you. And they live on a planet, and they're quite intelligent, and they're quite funny, but they have this really strange thing where they don't understand non-literal language. They think everything's true, so they don't understand fiction and metaphor and what have you. And they come in contact with Earth, and they just love Earth people. They really, and they love all the stories. They read lots of books, so they're always going around pretending to be cowboys or Sherlock Holmes or what have you. And they're quite witty little stories, but they've never really grabbed me that much. They've never seemed to be as funny as they should be. They were written mostly in the late 50s, and there are other ones afterwards. And I've always wanted a copy with the original title of the first collection, which is Earthman's Burden, which is probably very politically incorrect these days, but history is history, the past is the past, we shouldn't brush under the carpet. And it's an absolutely lovely little book. So I got this from Fantastic Literature, and it's got a lovely spine there, Avon Books, nice red text block, beautiful. This one I think was printed in the late 70s, but look at it, it's like the day it was born off the presses. Fantastic. So really looking forward to that. I picked up some other bits and pieces from individuals on AB and eBay recently. Had some good experiences. Dinosaur Beach by Keith Lorimer. Again, somebody I've neglected, a really nice door book. I haven't even taken that out of the wrap because it looks so pretty. Time travel story. And, you know, Dinosaur Beach. What a title. That tells you everything, doesn't it, really? It's all you need to know. Fantastic. And then I came across this as well, which again is beautiful. Unbroken spine, nice and sharp sunflower yellow, great text box, beautiful condition door book, looks unread. And this is Robert Lowry's Identity 7. Now, Robert Lowry, I remember, wrote some really dreadful looking Dracula novels in the late 70s that were advertised in magazine covers. Things like sort of House of Hammer. I don't think quite that. There was another magazine around at that time, and they kind of stuck with me. And I thought, well, wow, I'd love to read an SF novel by him. So that's that. But it's in beautiful condition, and it was about £4, so you can't really go wrong. So yeah, so a little bit of door there. So just to get those together, because everybody seems to be on a door kick these days, and who can blame them? So a little door stash, lovely. Reminds me of Fantasy Inn in London, Charing Cross Road. First time I went there was probably about 83, and you'd go in and there was this sea of yellow spines, which was fantastic. To sort of sum up, as you can see, I'm in a sort of pulpy SF mode at the moment. I reacquired a book I got rid of ages and ages ago, and there's a lot of these around, but they're mostly in terrible condition. And this, as you will see, has a lovely pristine non-leaning spine, not faded or anything. It's from my beloved Panther Granada Grafton, and this is the space opera to end all space operas, the original article. E. Doc Smith's Skylark series, the Skylark of Space, the first one of the 4. And, you know, this is the motherlode. This is where space opera really begins. Some of the writing is terrible, but you know, it's very broad characterization. And I just felt the urge to go back to, you know, the very beginning of the genre and read this again after a long time. So that's what I've been buying recently, a load of crappy old SF that we know and love. But you know, you can't really fault a format books as beautiful as this. So when you're shopping on AB or eBay, people are very poor, I think, at grading spines, and for me the spine is a key thing. So don't be afraid to ask questions, ask for more photographs, look for near fine or fine as your key sort of condition points. I tend not to buy anything below very good plus, because, you know, unless it's a rare book and you need a collection filler because you just want to read it. So that's my latest kind of stash. and my next sort of book haul will be the Hay on Wye one. So we shall see. This is Outlaw Bookseller signing out for now.